This guy has been in business over 45 years. I remember seeing his commercials in the 90s.
I see at MBA school, what they teach you is not to know anything. It's just how to pretend you think you know everything. And it was so funny because in the beginning, they say, oh, you can't wear the question mark suit. I said, I'm not going. Now it's, hey, you're going to wear the question mark suit. Hi, I'm Matthew Lesko. And if you're looking for me, it's really leskohelp.com. But I'm going to have to charge you there. So don't go to that. Go to trylesko.com and start applying for grants for free.
Diversified game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, you guys don't know how excited I am, but you're going to hear because I'm going to go into this guest. I'm going to call him Sir Matthew Lesko. This guy has been in business over 45 years. I remember seeing his commercials in the 90s and saying, what are the question mark suits and where can you order them? And to this day, he still has custom wear. You guys know, from my hat to my shirts, unless it's a $5 jersey from Africa or Mexico, I am copying what I see because he is the godfather of giving great information, trying to give it to you even for free now. And his books were never overpriced. It just, in the 90s, I didn't have a credit card and nobody was trusting me with that in my house. So I have Sir Matthew Lesko on the call. Thank you for showing up.
Hey, beats working.
And thank you, Kat, for the publicist. You guys, I always tell you about Kat. She's great and affordable for all of your needs. Yeah. Let's jump right into it. I'm seeing you in the 90s. I know airtime wasn't, free 99. What made you say, I'm going to jump online? And were you already making the big money? So you maybe had more money than you needed, and let me waste it somewhere or use it somewhere.
Yeah. Well, in the 90s, the internet really wasn't there yet. It was just starting. And I remember, God, it was something that the Gopher was the was the Google at the time. You used a website. Oh, Gopher. I have an MBA in computers from the 70s, so I'm a techie. But when the computers are bigger than this apartment I'm in, and then it exploded really in the late 90s. But what I was trying to do is educate people about government programs because I was a consultant. And when you're a consultant, you look for rich people. And you told me a little bit about what you do, and you had the same philosophy. Find the people who have money, they'll pay for anything. And that's right. So I worked for Fortune 500 companies, and really, I got an MBA in management information systems, and I wound up really doing research for them and what they wanted to know about computers. I mean, not computers, but their competitors and markets. This is back in the 90s that we didn't worry about much. It was mostly internal. And I was trying to help them get the information about what's going on outside their company. And so I was in Washington, didn't know anything about Washington either. I grew up in a small town, Pennsylvania. And they'd ask me a question. I'd run around town finding experts in that question, getting the information for free and selling it to them for thousands of dollars. It was great. And then I said, why doesn't everybody know about this stuff? Man, you just make a phone call or go to a government office, get all this money, help and everything. Doesn't matter who you are. You just have to know it's there. And I got sick of helping rich people because to me, they're not fun to work with. All they care about is fucking money. I want to have more fun in life, than money. And the people really need it. What bothered me is that all the rich people were taking advantage of it. If you're a millionaire, what I was doing is helping millionaires become billionaires. And that's really boring. Because they don't need anything. You're not helping. It's sort of like loving somebody, and they don't love you back. And so the people really need it. I said, I'm going to do that instead. And at that time, this is back in the 80s, the only way to educate people was really through books. Now, I flunked English in college. Most English courses, me being an author was like being on Mars. Well, maybe not now, but back then, this is way before Elon. And so I got And so an agent found me and said I probably could write a book, but I didn't write anything in the book. What I did is there's a book in the government called the Catalog of Federal Domestic Assistance. And that you could buy for like 40 bucks at the GPO. Well, now it's online for free. You don't need to do that. I took that book and I cut and pasted it and I sent it to Viking Penguin in New York. Didn't write a lick. Well, actually, I wrote some headlines, for the program. So that was a book about 2,000 grants the government had. And I just copied from this book because people have to realize nothing in the government is copyrighted. You could take anything in the government and sell the shit out of it. Nobody, there's no laws against that. And I thank the government in the intro and things like that so people can get it. And then, being a small entrepreneur, and I had a business, it was a consulting business, helping those rich people. I mean, it wasn't really big at all, but made a nice living. And I said, how am I going to get people to know about this? And at the time, back in the 80s, it was really talk shows. I mean, every city had like 10 talk shows. I mean, there were Good Morning Atlanta, Good Night Atlanta, Afternoon Atlanta, talk shows, somebody screaming and shouting on the radio or whatever. And I said, boy, that's what it is about, So I don't have to pay for any of those advertisements if I get on the talk shows. And I quickly learned that talk shows don't care what you say, it's how you say it. And so it was all, and I like exciting people. I mean, I was a professor of computer science, and mostly the adults at the local university here in Washington. And my problem was trying to keep students awake to teach them about computers. So if I can't keep you awake, I can't teach you anything. So that's my theory about advertising or whatever, or doing talk shows or communicating, is first keep them awake. So I remember the first time I did the Today Show or thinking about it, I said, well, God, okay, they're going to say next is Matthew Lesko to talk about government information. Well, then I picture everybody who's watching that is now going to the bathroom to brush their teeth. Who the fuck wants to know about that? So, and I got to get 2-3 minutes on the Today Show. So to me, my first job is to get you out of the bathroom. So I think it was Jane Pauley at the time when she said, well, Matthew, what do you know, whatever she said. I said, well, wow, Jane, did you know that? And so I imagine these people come out, now I got you. And then the other thing, a trick I learned, you don't have to answer what they ask you. They're just trying to look good and smart and stuff like that. And so they would ask me things like, oh, isn't it hard to write a grant? And I said, yeah, it could be, man. But did you know you could get a house for $1? And it just washes over. And so I became a professional guest because people, and what the neatest thing about that was they used me for, if someone canceled at the last minute, I'll go anywhere. You give me 2-3 minutes of prime time somewhere, I'm going to play. I'll be there on your doorstep in minutes. I remember Letterman used to use me a lot like that. I remember they found me once in Chicago and flew me in. And my biggest thrill is, who am I subbing for? What big star screwed them at the last minute? They have to call Lesko. I found that's and that did very well. And then the infomercial, well, home shopping was another big thing. And that was nice because, see, commercials on TV and stuff like that. I mean, you get a minute commercial, was hard to sell anyway. And it cost a couple hundreds of thousands of dollars. I didn't have that kind of money. So as a guest, but there was a limit to being a guest. You can't be on Oprah 6 times, stuff like that. And so I went to home shopping, and that did very. I'd go down and sell 30,000 books in a day. Just crazy. It was bigger than Oprah. I did Oprah a bunch of times, and home shopping really sold me a hell of a lot more books than Oprah ever did. They take half the money, just like the bookstores. So how do I get out the other people? And then I realized that, okay, if I had my own 800 number, because I couldn't sell books in a bookstore because I'd have to print 100,000 books, get them in the bookstore, and maybe sell them. And I said, oh God, I don't have that kind of money to do that. So with a publisher in New York, it was easy. They took care of all that, but I only made $1, kind of thing. So I made nothing. So I said, how would I use the media and get more of the money? And bookstores take half the money too. And I found out when I was using in New York that when people saw me on TV, they ran to the bookstore, and they weren't your bookstore people. They weren't, back in the 80s and 90s or whatever, people hanging around bookstores were really intellectuals, more or less. They weren't my market, people struggling in life and need help. So I felt I was giving the bookstore my customer. I wasn't getting their customer, and they're getting half the money. So I said, how do I cut that out? Well, an 800 number. And that solved the cash problem too. Because when people saw me on Larry King or something, they call, people gave me 800, on the talk shows. And then I got their money before they got the book. In selling books in the bookstore, you got to print all the books, get them out, have all the distributions and all that kind of stuff. And they just couldn't do that, as a small entrepreneur. There's always another way to do something, and people, I can't do that because, and that's the bullshit in life, because we rely on experts, and experts don't know shit. I mean, they know something, but they know how to make, like me, how to make billionaires out of millionaires, but most of us aren't millionaires. So it's not going to work. So you have to use non-traditional stuff to get, and you go to the experts and they'll tell you, oh, this is what works, because it works for these millionaires or whatever the hell it is. So what do you care? You can't do that. So you have to think differently, and you don't know what that is in the beginning. And we're all guessing. We're all scared in life. We don't know what to do, and the experts don't know what to do either, theoretically, but they have to pretend they do so they could charge a lot. You can be an expert. Oh, let's try this. I don't know if it's going to work or not. What the hell? Yeah. People are going to give you a couple of grand or something like that. I don't want to hear that. But this is true. Doctors are the same way. We're all guessing. Yeah. And so because we're money, because of the, I don't know how that sentence was going to end. I feel like Trump.
Well, our friends at McKinsey are gonna be like, don't tell them that the experts
right, exactly. Don't. Well, they were my customers. I would do the research kind of stuff, and that's what they learned. I see at MBA school, what they teach you is not to know anything. It's just how to pretend you think you know everything.
And you live by that. Because I emailed you years ago. I think I had just started, or my PTAC. Back then it was PTAC. Now it's Apex Accelerators.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I know well.
Yeah, I have my advisor there. I have my score advisor. And I'm emailing you because I'm seeing you on YouTube. And I'm talking about some 8A thing. And you emailed me back and you said, I think you're going to do great either way. And because I'm giving you I'm asking for some long, if you have the hidden keys to the goal of the 8A and GSA schedule. And I'm like, he's not trying to sell me anything. And I said, I love it. Kellen, keep going. You're on the right track. Keep going, keep pushing. And many moons later, I'm in a government contract right here in Palm Beach County right now for the disparity study, doing the PR. And it was just that little boost of confidence that you don't even know. Just saying those words like, I think you got it. You're good. I ran and I kept watching your YouTube, and, here we are.
Right. Well, no,
so thank you.
You're right. And that's what in Lesko Help, that's what I feel. We're helping people find these things. And I feel, I always thought, well, first of all, I had to figure out how to sell this information again. Nobody bought books. But this, I see the magic to what we're doing now is that it's not me. And that's what there's only so much of me anyway. It's other members that got it and help other people. So it's I call it a loving community, man. What you're saying, how powerful that is. Just a loving thought to somebody else, another human being, to just say something positive, to give something the energy of what the hell they need more than a check, because then they'll create their own check, and that's the power in life. Yeah. is having that comfort. Otherwise, you think you're an asshole because, oh, I can't get anything to work. And look at this idiot over there. He's an asshole, but he's rich. Whatever. So you think that's something wrong with you. And I think that's the power we all have, no matter how rich or poor we are, to help each other through this. We're all struggling, and everybody's scared as hell and don't know what they're doing. They're just guessing, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And surrounding you with that comfort will keep you going more than just people calling, oh, you stupid person. And that's what, to me, what consultants do. They think you're stupid, or they say you're stupid because you don't know this. No, not true at all. And it's like helping somebody, learn themselves, because what's going to work for you, like, look what worked for me. Okay, dressing like an idiot. I mean, it wouldn't work for anybody else, but this was me inside. See. And that's the key. You have to find out what's inside, what's weird about you, that's what will work for you, not what, dressing like a banker or something like that. There's some other idiot that works well for them. But if it's not you, you're faking it then, and people could smell that. But what's authentic? And we don't do that because we don't know what is authentic for us. And we do all these things that everybody else tells us it should be authentic for you, but it isn't. So you're not really comfortable. And like, even when I started dressing like this, man, I was throwing off home shopping. It cost me millions of dollars, but this was me, man. I had to do it. And no matter, you fail or not, but you're living a true life. And today is important. I mean, maybe like you, young guy, we always, oh man, 5-10 years, I'm going to be a billionaire and all this kind of stuff. And I was doing all these things and they were failing. And then I said, shit, wait a minute, I'm failing on this. I'm not having fun. And I'm doing the stuff I'm not having fun at, thinking someday I'm going to have fun and be now, and it's failing anyway. So what am I doing? This sounds crazy. So I flipped it around. I'm going to have fun today because I may or may not have fun tomorrow anyway. But man, I'm having fun today. Why wait? It may not happen anyway. And that's when it changed for me. And I don't know what it is. Like this. Sure, I was thrown off home shopping, but other doors opened up where I should be.
Well, you got this style. How many custom pieces do you have through the years, if you can count? And where did you go to get it? Because I'll go to an African country, or I'll go to a local vendor and say, hey, make me this hat. I want to say it's family business. It's different. And they say it's too long. It's family biz. It's different. How many pieces? And where did you go? How expensive was that? Because my custom clothing, a lot of times, because how I buy it, is cheaper than going to a Macy's or Nordstrom's, which I haven't gone to in decades.
Absolutely. No, I was a clothes horse. Armani stuff and everything cost me millions. And when I started going funky, that's cheap as hell. Nobody notices how cheap this shit is because they're looking at how funny it is. So my suits are the same way. Here's what I do now. And I went through a bunch of reiterations, is that I go to Fiverr, get an artist, have designed something for me for $10 or something like that. I take that graphic, I send it to a place called Spoon Flower. They're in North Carolina somewhere. You could now, my family was in the clothing business, or actually the baby clothes business, but fabric and stuff like that. So to get fabric like this, you have to buy 100 yards of it or 1,000 yards. You can't. Spoon Flower now is 3D printing. $10 a yard. So for $30, you get 3 yards of your fabric. Now, instead of going, actually, I send it to Vietnam. Vietnam will make you a suit for $50. You pay more for the shipping.
Wow.
And it was so funny. The first time I was looking for clothes. I go online, somebody about custom suit. I want to sort of like slim fit. And so, I got that. And I gave them the measurements and they sent it. And then I saw the box that it came in. And the company was from Sweden, but the box, the material came in was from Ho Chi Minh City. And, and I thought, holy shit, these people 30 years ago were trying to kill my ass. Now they're making suits for me. In Vietnam, you know. And so that's what I do. I send it over there. It's cheap as hell. I mean, I got maybe 15, 20 now in this thing. I turn over. You know, thin the herd every now and then. I'm about to order a couple more just to keep me entertained. But
Do,
yeah,
do,
go
do you
ahead.
ever, donate them? They put them for auction. I mean, this is the
No, I
stuff.
give them to people. Yeah.
Okay. That and so you
Magic.
guys are listening how custom clothing can, take your brand and your life to a next
Absolutely.
level.
Yeah.
It's helped you, but I'm sure there's also been some people who saw you, maybe from when you were doing your MBA, when you were, on the Hill and
Right.
around DC, that said, I don't want any parts of that guy. How much has it cost you to be an individual and be true to yourself?
Well, uh, the my biggest fear when I first started doing it was that. I mean, and another thing, I'm growing up in the 50s, you know, men were more macho, you know, to be a guy, you know. And I don't think it changed a whole lot, but it is a little bit. So I worried if I'm going to wear this thing, I'm going to have to defend my honor every 3 hours or something like that, you know. And I remember walking through the airports like that, and it was sort of like walking on a crate of eggs every step. Worried about, but it wasn't. It wasn't like that at all. People hated me. I mean, where I was, you know, I lost a lot of money when they threw me off home shopping because of this. But I wanted to do it, and I made more money instead, you know, from them, and that wasn't. And it was so funny because in the beginning they say, "Oh, you can't wear the question mark suit." I said, "Then I'm not going." Now it's, "Hey, you're going to wear the question mark suit." But more important is what the average person does. That's the reason I wear it now. I dress like this every day. I go for exercise every day, walk around the streets all the time, always going on long walks and stuff. And it makes people smile. They don't know my work, but they look at me and they smile. And that is the biggest reward ever. If I could do something like this and walk down the street and make people smile, wow, what better do I have to do in life? And it grows my heart every time that it. And when you wait till you get be an old fart like me, you know, you can't get stronger, you can't get faster, you can't get smarter. All that shit's going downhill, but you could love harder, you know, and that's what's going on now. And I got really more and more into this all the time. It was always there, but not like it is now. And because that grows, and if your heart grows, and if your heart is open, man, life becomes so much better every day. Yeah.
Well, speaking of loving harder, you've been able to love and be able to do this. And now we see all type of, toxic stuff talking about relationships. I guess we saw it on TV back in the day too, especially in the 90s. But talk about how much of an impact your wife and your two children have had in your success, because they also have to support dad while he's getting, whether he's getting praised or beat up. Your head can blow up like a Kanye or a Trump, or, but talk about the family aspect.
Let me show you something. This is a birthday gift for my son's 40th birthday, who has two kids. Boy, I wanted something like this.
I wanted something like that too. I have the Yo Gabba Gabba because DJ Lance and I both wear glasses and he's
All
black. So
right.
I said, "Oh, my kids will think I'm him," and I did that when they were little.
But no, kids are great. The only thing, kids to me are the only thing in life that I found was better than I thought it would be. You know, everything
Mm.
else, by the time you get it, well, I always want to be a success. Being New York Times bestseller, man, that's like really being on Mars for me, and all that stuff. After a day or two, it really doesn't mean much. Uh, but kids, I mean, I guess that's the hard thing. That's where it comes in, and boy, that's amazing. And they're both close. I mean, they're now in their 40s, and we're really good. He's got a party tonight. So and that's his present. So don't tell him yet. And for him to be silly with his kids. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Come along with London and Sydney as they show you around the vibrant country of Cameroon. We explore the heart of Africa through the eyes of London and Sydney. Two explorers who journey across the great city of Yaoundé, exploring its rich culture, vibrant market squares, cultural heritage, and wildlife. With giggles and excitement, London and Sydney Explore Cameroon takes you on a fun-filled adventure, providing insight into the country's culture and traditions through the pages of this book. It's packed with exciting stories and super cool facts about Cameroon that will make you go, wow. Get your copy now, available on Amazon and in libraries near you. There's only one easy way to experience the exploration of Cameroon, and it's through London and Sydney. Don't wait, get yours.
Yes. And I mean, of course, again, doing family, the balance.
Yeah.
Did you do a good job of, having the balance between family and work? And do you have any tips for people who are struggling with that, who don't know how to turn off the computer, put the phone down?
I don't. I mean, work is my number one passion because it's not work. My work is art. So, to me, it's sort of like, I'm not as talented as any great artist, but Picasso, 60, you've had enough, why don't you give it up? And that's what I think we should strive for in our life, is something that isn't work, but you got to get paid. And that's the magic. So if you could find and develop something that is not work, but get paid, then you don't have to worry about retirement. I don't. I give my Social Security check to most of it anyway. I'm still insecure, to a college scholarship at the local community college. I don't know what the hell they're giving me money for. It's called I Don't Need My Government Money Scholarship Fund. So many people getting government money, they don't need it. What the hell are they doing with this? We're giving money to millionaires, for retirement. A million, what the hell are they do? And people, here's an interesting data. I didn't put it together well yet. America creates more per capita, creates more millionaires and billionaires than anybody else in the world. So we're number one in creating millionaires, but we're only number two in creating poor people. We're only the percentage of poor people in the developed countries were worst, except for some South American company, Costa Rica. So we're second in having the most poorest people in the world. Second. Boy, we'll get to be number one, I'm sure.
Wow.
We got to go out and create more poor people. We're only number two. Let's get out there. And we created more millionaires. What about poor people, man? That is what's tough about living in America, I think.
We definitely, it's easier to create a business in America. I think the only other place I've been that it's easier is Rwanda, where it takes 6 hours to create a business.
Wow.
But it's and it's a clean Rwanda now and a very peaceful Rwanda now.
Cool.
But I want to just go back because I want the Passport Bros to listen, because you didn't create children by yourself. How important was it? I know your wife also writes books. She's also into youth initiatives. How important was it to marry somebody who got you, who understood I just kind of, even if I can give it away, I want to give it away. If Bezos wrote me a check right now for 130 million, everything would be free. How important is that? Because people struggle and, they go through a lot of relationships to find something like that somebody who gets them.
Well, I think the easy way to call that is, remember, your heart's smarter than your brain. So many things if we're educated or whatever, we want to make a spreadsheet, you want to put the good with the bad and all that kind of stuff. The important things in life, and like starting a business and things like that. It's good to find out what's good and bad, but the most important thing to use in making a decision is your heart. And that's the important thing, because if your heart is not in it, it's not going to work. Anybody you marry is going to be a pain in the ass because we're all human. So, you can't, but if your heart is about, if your heart is there, then you'll find a way around it. The same way with a job. Oh, this makes sense because this, but your heart's not there, then you're still going to the dentist every day. And not growing. And that stops you from growing. If you're doing something that your heart's not in, you can't grow. And that's what we're here. We're all organic. We're all like all those green things behind you there. They're growing every day because they get sunlight and grow. You get in a place, a relationship or a business that is, you can't grow, then you're dying on the vine and you're wasting your life in a way. Yeah, I mean, you have responsibilities, so it's a complicated equation, to figure it out. But we don't. There's never been a class that I went to, and I got an MBA and all, about trusting your heart, and that's the important thing. That's why I used to work question mark suits only. Okay. Because I thought you made perfect decisions if you had the right information. Now, I don't believe that as much. I'm an older guy. I say, no matter if you have the right information, you still won't make the perfect decisions unless your heart's in it. Because everything you do is a pain in the ass. It's hard. It's difficult. Life isn't easy. You're going to get the shit kicked out of you no matter who you are. And if your heart's not in it, you're not going to get through it. You're going to stop and find an easier way. But if your heart's in it, then you're going to make it happen more. The odds just increase.
Now your heart is in it, not just from what you've done, for the last 45 years, but even with the YouTube and staying on the technology. Not one of your videos has yet to go over or hit 1 million, but you're consistent, and that's why you have 280,000 subscribers, me being included. Kellen Cash with the K.
You're the one.
One of them. How has it been? A lot of people have some great information, but they say, Kellen, no one wants to listen to it. So unless I go negative, no one's going to hear it. Unless I start talking about, Trump and Diddy and everything, and then mix that in, nobody wants to hear from me. How do you stay focused on your mission?
It's hard. And to me, I look at it as this is, I have fun entertaining people, making them laugh. Yeah. So that's a given. If you don't have that, you have to do what's good for you, because then that will come through. And you have to wait and find. I mean, see where we're using that. Well, you have to talk about this, Trump and whatever, that it's difficult, but it's easier now than ever before because you have so many platforms. You have to find out where don't forget, all of us only need a couple thousand people to make a nice living, or a couple hundred. It's not like before when I wrote a book, you had to get it mass marketed and chains and all that kind of stuff. So you had to appeal to the lowest denominator. So all these big things pick you up. Now you could just, get a couple hundred people. You find people like yourself, but it takes trial and error. It's learning how to walk, learning how to use the computer. You don't turn it on and whatever. You're following other people who made it. So that's right, they made it, but that may not be for you. And that's right, go drive for Uber, whether the hell it is, deliver meals while you're figuring this out, because you have to figure out what works for you. It's different from anybody else. And now there's so many ways to do that. You test, you fail, you test, you fail. If you're not willing to fail, then you're not willing to grow, unless you want to be somebody else. And then maybe that clicks and you hate what you're doing. and that's not fun either. Now, and that's why I think who's around you. I think that's why I've been married 3 times, and looking back, I think maybe when I got married all the time was more for comfort, to have that support, because you get beat up all the time going out and trying shit that doesn't work. So at least I had come home and somebody's, it's nice to me. Yeah, there's no easy answer. I think, again, you have to trust your heart and fail. If you're not willing to do that, you're not willing to really want to succeed. That's why you have to find something bigger than you to stay in there, you know, not
Yeah.
just for you stuffing your pockets. Yeah. I mean, that may work for a short time, whatever, but if you have something that you think is important to other people and want them to get it, then that can give you the fuel you'll need to pick your ass up 100 times because that's what it's probably going to take.
I mean, your whole, career, the life that we know is about giving back. What is a community give back that you're doing, or even maybe one in the future that you want to do? Maybe you want to take everybody to the moon or Mars or something with Elon. Uh,
No,
you know,
no.
what is one?
Well, I mean, I got here, this, uh, here's a letter I got from a member. We also give grants. Members, we give grants. If I make a profit, I give it back to the members. We give out like $70,000 every month now just to members. They apply what they need money for. And here's what one member said. And don't forget, we have members that help members too. So they're not on our payroll, whatever. We give them stipends, but they're there to, you could ask them questions about how to do things and whatever, because I feel it's better to ask somebody who just did it instead of me, who I did it 50 years ago. I'm not applying for grants anymore. So here's a member, Jared Romano, his name is. I would give your $1,000 to Lesko mentor Tula T. She's one of our navigators, we call them. She has tremendously helped me out through my IRS debt. I feel like I'm forever grateful to her. And I never really had much money myself. So I feel like this $1,000 is a great way to pay back for what she has done for me. So here's a member applying for $1,000 from us, our grant, to give to another member who helped him get rid of his IRS debt for free. Didn't have to pay it.
Wow. Wow.
And that's why, so it's not me doing something. It's empowering other people to do something, and showing them tools, because I can't do this because I don't make a lot of money. Or you go to Google and Google to me is the culprit because you go there and everybody there is going to want to get money from you. So if you have no money, in which we're the best people in the world to have people with no money, right? We have the poorest people. They should never touch Google with a 10-foot pole. Everything there is people want to get your money, and they know how to do it so well, better than me. And you'll just get trapped. And the people who want to help you for free, you'll never find, because they're not going to pay Google to find you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the free stuff, so they stop doing what they want to do.
Now, I'm going to ask you, about the most unique grant that you see, but now you've said something after reading that. We have a team member, somebody we know, they have their own business, but they got struck with an illness, which happens all the time in this country, and they had to have brain surgery this year.
Wow.
They end up, going blind, visual, slowly by slowly. And of course, to get, the services you need after you've paid, 40 plus years into the system, it gets harder and harder. And people say, wait, they will evict you if you have oxygen. For that person who's suffering with medical issues, have you seen any grants out there that you've seen work? Because this is real life and a real story. And we all have a certain amount of money we can help people with. But when you have medical issues like that, you need hundreds of thousands sometimes, because your doctors, your specialists, they all need money right now.
Well, there's no one easy place. That's the problem. That's why it's trying to teach people the system, because it's different in every city, state, county, whatever. But there are places to start, and it's not Google. First thing you would do is go to findhelp.org. You want to do this now? Put it on here. But are you online?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go to findhelp.org
Okay. Went there.
Okay, put in your zip code. Do they have like where you live or something like that there?
Okay. Got
Okay.
it.
Okay, now put in rent.
Put in rent. Oh, housing, goods, okay.
No, no, there's another look for the search
Okay,
thing.
rent.
Yeah,
Okay.
put
Got
rent
it.
here. You got that?
Yeah.
How many sources you have there?
Woo. 74 pages worth of sources.
Right. Okay. There, all those sources are free government programs or nonprofit organizations that help you with rent. You hear that? That's in
Yeah.
one zip code. See, one zip code is 74 code. So if it's rent they want to do it there. Now go, and then you should put them disability to see all the sources that are help for disability. Medical, I mean, if he has medical bills, there's nonprofit organizations that'll help him get rid of the medical bills he has. All that stuff is there. But now we don't know how to do that. See, we're used to Google, so we want to Google and then just apply somewhere. It doesn't work that way. What you have to do is take those organizations, let's say there's 70, and you have to start calling each one of them to see if they're for you. You will never understand by reading them if it's for you or not. And more importantly, it's sort of like you as a salesman, I guess, if there's somebody there going to give rent for veterans, but you're not a veteran, that person will still know about other programs for you. They're spending a whole career studying rent programs in your area. Okay. So they're going to be more knowledgeable about that than anybody else you could bet. So you make a dozen of those phone calls, and that's the way to do it. Yeah. But we don't, people aren't even,
What?
don't realize that that is the way to do it.
Well, out here in Palm Beach County, we just had Milton, about 5 tornadoes
Right.
you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
the area. You guys go to findhelp.org wherever you are, but especially that, because of course, you know this insurance, once you need them, huh? What? Take it? What? You know,
Exactly. Hey.
they
Oh, this is a hurricane with wind. Oh no, we don't.
exactly. And what people don't realize, you know, especially and I appreciate you calling me the younger people, because I was gonna like, hey, my hairline, I've earned my hairline. It's still there, but it's going back, right?
Yeah, oh.
But people don't realize there are people who have these $1 million homes at the Aero Club around the corner, and a lot of them say that $100,000 roof that blew off, if insurance doesn't cover it, I can't rebuild. They're going to leave it as is.
Right. No,
And
well,
that's
there's
that.
programs for that. So you're state and local. So you do want to go to FEMA. No matter what you hear bad about them, you have to check in with FEMA, and that's disasterassistance.gov. And you fill up pages till your applications till your eyes pop out, because they have the most money. Then you go to the local, like Florida now has a program that was there to help you fix your roof so it doesn't get caught in a hurricane. And they've been had that for a couple of years now. It's 10 grand only, but it's a start, and for other things. And that's all local. And you could find that in findhelp.org is a good place to start doing, but only if you start calling people there and asking them where else to go. It's using people, not the internet. The internet is making people helpless. Google is making people helpless. Before it wasn't. Now, that's why I like AI. AI is better at this. AI is not, nobody's selling anything on AI yet.
Yeah.
So you could go to AI. I use Chat GPT and put in home repair money for Palm Beach County, Florida, and put these words in it: from government programs and nonprofit organizations, because they're the people who give out money. Everybody else, .coms, want to take your money, okay? That's what they're for. But government programs, which are .gov, and nonprofit organizations, which are .org, are the people that give you money. Now that represents about 33% of our entire economy is what I call the giving economy. And then we have the capitalism, which is 2/3 of our economy. And that's called the getting economy. They all want to get money from you. So the people who are giving money to you or getting money from you, So that's why you got to stay away from Google. Unless you have money, go spend your ass off and get help. Fine. But what about the people who don't have that? Which is we have the most people like that in the world, not in the world, in the developed countries, because I'm sure you'll see more in Africa somewhere. My wife spent a lot of time in Mali helping people before it got overtaken by some crazies. Yeah.
What is probably the most surprising, grants that you are programs that you've seen? And I gotta ask, because you said AI, have you AI'd yourself? I saw this at CES where people were cloning their self and how they think, so they're gonna live forever, in theory.
I don't care about that. What happens after I die? I want to have fun while I'm here and fuck it after that. You people worry about it. It's really how many people got to help before I die? And that's my motto now. And I see that, boy, you get letters like this, then that gets me up in the morning. And if what I know is helpful somewhere, then I feel a responsibility, and it makes my heart grow with that responsibility if I use it, and makes my life better than ever. And so it's all selfish. I'm not doing any of this stuff because I'm a gift to mankind. No, I'm a gift to me because it makes me feel so good. Fuck you.
Well, I was going to tell people, you're going for sainthood with writing over, 100 books, and putting it out there, with YouTube. I know you're not going for the clout necessarily, but with, TV, did the relationship ever end with TV? Did you get tired of it? Or was YouTube and social media just your way of doing it your way, as Frank Sinatra would say?
Oh, it's cheaper. Now I could do an infomercial for a $200 used iPhone. Before it cost me $200,000. So I'm having the same fun, actually more fun, because I don't have to deal with all the people who, use the $200,000 to do stuff. I just turn on an iPhone and do it. And that's why I think it's easier now than ever before in the history, at least I've been around, to start a business. When I grew up in the 50s and 60s, man, the only way you're going to start a business and sell something, you have to have a store, and that's like a couple $100,000 now. Now for $5 a month, you have a store on Etsy. and you're in business. So the key to business is not being an LLC, not being all this nonsense, is getting a customer. And that's why the problem with YouTube, you'll go there, or Google, you'll go there about things that need to start a business, and the lawyers and accountants will tell you all this kind of stuff. And that's all bullshit, because you're going to spend money for them, like I did in my first 2 businesses after I got an MBA that failed, because I was doing all the stuff they told me to do in MBA school, and I was still failing. And this is crazy. And your business is not going to succeed on if you're an LLC or not. Most people don't even care. And maybe you want to get a government contract and they say you have to do something, then you do it. You wait until a customer says you got to do this before I buy from you, then you do it. Anything else, you should spend all your time finding a customer. How are you going to find customers? Because otherwise you're going to spend all this money up front, getting the LLC, getting the perfect this, that, and everything, and then finding out how to get customers. Do that first. And because it's just a waste of time and money, all the other stuff.
If a listener had to pick one book, you're 81 years old, but you're feeling energetic like a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, what book would you say could help them? I don't know, if you've written a book about your life, because everything is free money when it pops up. But if they had to pick one book to get the wisdom that you have, that you've written, which book would it be? Or are you still writing it?
No, I don't. First of all, I have no more books. I haven't written a book in 15 years, maybe, or something like that, trying to figure out the internet. That's where the information is. Uh, on that, what to do is, God, listen to your heart more than anything else, because anything you're going to do is going to be so hard that if your heart's not in it, you're going to give up before you figure it out. Look at all the idiots that are making a lot of money on because they stayed at it. That's the only bottom line to all this stuff. You have to have the perseverance, and that's why if you don't really have the heart for it, you're not going to stay there long enough till you figure it out. And that is the key. Leskohelp.com is where I'm all at, and that's $20 if you're really interested. Or if I have a free version to get you started called trylesko.com, that you could go there. But just don't believe. It's hard to believe. Test. You can test. Everything has to be tested. What works for you will be different. Open your heart for people. People want to help you. If you have an open heart, if you're trying to sell them some shit, then, that smells. You have to sell. You have to be provide for yourself, your family, or whatever. And that's important. You have to do that first. So you have to be secure enough before you start helping other people. So take care of your income first. Like get a shitty job or whatever, just to pay your bills before you start, changing the world. But you can do it part-time, and that's a good way to fail. You have an income coming in, and you're doing this. Put up a website that costs nothing. Do a YouTube channel that costs nothing. Get on a Facebook group and start one on your idea and see if you could pull somebody in on that and get feedback. It's all about getting feedback. Your customers will tell you what to do, but you have to find potential customers, and that's the hard part.
You guys have gotten so much information. I could go do a Joe Rogan 3-hour podcast. He has a YouTube. He has over 100 books. He has information you're just going to grab. He's already helped us. So I want you to make sure that you look in the description, that you can make comments and ask questions. We'll ask them to him, because what am I going to say? Ask him. Go to his YouTube, subscribe to it, share it. Most importantly, share it, because it will change somebody's life. I thank you for coming on.
Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand, or 10,000 Kenyan shillings, or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.